Okay, here we're at our episode 2 of Bloodbath Tactics. I brought on here Ben. He'll be a regular guest here with us quite a bit. Oh, yeah. He just recently had a tournament called the No LVO, so people who couldn't make the LVO.
That's right.
Just over the weekend, and I wanted to bring you on because, well, you attended that tournament, and it's really fresh in your mind. So I kind of want to dive deep into your Knights list. Why you chose the Knights that you chose, and how actually the tournament went, and I'm sure it was fantastic. He also had best overall in the most recent GT here in Calgary, with the same list of Knights. So he's been playing that for a little bit there, so he has a little experience, and we hope that you viewers can learn something from it. But what we're going to start with is how did you even get started in Warhammer, because that's a big one.
Yeah. For sure. So I have a little bit less experience in certainly competitive play than a lot of guys we hang out with. You had Tony on first episode. He's the consummate professional probably amongst us.
He's been playing competitively for a while.
Yeah. Right. So I'm nowhere near his level of experience, but the how I got into Warhammer was much like I'm sure many people in Calgary at least got their first experience of Warhammer at the Games Workshop store in Sunridge Mall, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that was my first.
Right. Rest in peace store hasn't been there for 15, 20 years maybe. Like, it's been a long time.
I have no idea when it
long time.
No
anyway,
idea.
It's one of those stores that it's bright, it's flashy. There's cool Space Marines and Tyranids and Orcs, and like it's a kid's wet dream. That sounds weird. It's a kid's dream store to go into.
It was my wet dream.
It was your wet dream, even at that young age. But it's not a toy store. It's not a Toys R Us. Yeah, your mom doesn't want you buying stuff from there. It's $40 for some delicate glue and plastic and.
What's $40?
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm talking like
yeah, I know.
Pre-2000, whatever
it's
that
so
was.
much more expensive
in the before
now.
times.
Okay? In the before
times. Yeah. So we'd go buy it all the time. Kind of like popped in and out. Had no idea what the heck it was. When the Lord of the Rings movies were coming out, I think maybe in the same time as the launch of the first movie, or just after, just before, something like that. Games Workshop did their what's the official name for it? Lord of the Rings Fantasy Battle, or Lord of the Rings?
I think it was just Lord of the Rings, like
Battle for Middle Earth.
Battle for Middle Earth. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, so yeah.
They started launching that line, and as a promo, they were giving out free miniatures, and it wasn't like a bunch. It was just you got either a free Uruk-hai with his big old spear, or Rider of Rohan. Super cool models, and me and my brother, as I'm sure you have if you have a brother. One guy has to be the bad guy. One guy has to be the good guy.
Yeah, I had the Rider.
Right. Yeah. So one person has to be Batman. One has to be Joker. That's just how it works. I got the Uruk-hai because I'm the anti-hero always. Not that Uruk-hais are heroes at all, but like I was the bad guy. My brother got the Rider of Rohan.
They can walk in the daylight, man. Orcs can't walk in the daylight. Uruk-hai can.
Oh, that's true. That's the new Saruman made the Uruk-hai, and
yeah. He bred them with humans.
Oh, such a good movie. I just want to watch movies now. But so that was my first introduction to Games Workshop and mini wargaming, I guess, in general. Like before that, board games, normal board games like Monopoly that normal people play, not us gamers who have to play something that's extremely complicated, or deception-based board games is probably my favorite board games. But so we got these models, took them home. We were using not even like model paints, like the crappy whatever my mom had like downstairs from like painting the house, painting like the shellac brown on our Uruk-hais and stuff like that. And that was my first real introduction, but didn't take it anywhere. We didn't even know what the points were. We just kind of battled them, rolled dice, and like you do it when you're a kid. You don't know the rules. Kind of got back into wargaming Games Workshop product in, I think it was 5th edition with Necrons. Back when it was more like Terminator, they were Terminator rip-offs, right? We will be back rolls.
Yeah. Do you remember their old cast? They were kind of like standing up straight like this. So hello.
So I was in after the originals, like their guns up like this.
Yeah.
And the destroyers that were like these like recliner jet bike things. I don't know. I was in.
We all start somewhere.
Even the Necrons.
Yeah, even the Necrons. Right. Even 50 million years ago.
So I was in after that, but during the age of like that metal lord that's still cool. It was like a claw out like this, and you got the staff out like this. So I got in Necrons a little bit in 5th edition. Never played. I don't even think I played a game, but I collected a little bit, maybe 1,000 points. Ended up losing the collection in the Great Flood of 2011, 2012, whatever it was. It was in the basement, and
That's
everything
so
got
sad.
Oh, it was rough. That's a whole story into itself. The flood situation, but lost the army, sucked super bad. Didn't touch it forever, and came back to it basically with the launch of 10th edition, which you said is in June, I think.
June
of this past year.
Yeah, it happened. It started in June. Yeah, actually, the first day was a Saturday when the Play-On tournament was here.
Oh, is that the launch of 10th?
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, but we didn't play 10th at that time. We played 9th. So.
No, of course not. Yeah, it's like if it just launched, you're not playing it right away.
No.
That would have been madness. So yeah, 10th launched. I had always kind of like stayed peripherally aware of some of the lore and some of the models, but I just didn't really have not necessarily the interest because I'm super into like board games, D&D, tactical games. It's like right up my alley, and it is 40K is kind of the ultimate tactics board game, mixed with a little bit of hobbying and stuff. I'm an awful painter, but you gotta get them painted at least to play the tournaments, right?
What do you mean?
I've seen my army. It's passable. It's bad. It's like if we're going to scale from
you gotta take a little bit of credit, man.
Like a scale from nobody knows who these people are. Maybe some people know who these people are. A scale from Jake to sorry, Jake. I love you, Jake. I love you, Jake.
All love, Jake, but painting.
Jake to Ryan. Not Ryan, Mark, probably even. Ryan's really good too.
Mark, yeah.
Is Mark better than Ryan?
Oh yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So scale from Jake.
Mark's better than all of us.
Jake to Mark. Yeah. I'm
unanimously voting.
I'm like
Mark's
a 5
better.
in there. That's fine. His stuff's insane. Anyway, so what was I even saying? Right. So getting into painting, getting into collecting in 10th edition. So I really had my first 10th edition game. Wasn't right to start with. Maybe August against Jake. He beat me up with his Custodes and Thousand Suns, like no joke, like 10 games in a row. And I told him from the start, do not go easy on me. If I'm going to learn this, I have to learn how to play well. So you can bring funny whatever off meta list, it's all good, but don't softball me. Like I want to play the game. And I think that's to his credit. He never took a soft on me. I lost like probably close to like 12 games in a row. Like I even probably have them on my app tracker.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Just getting stomped.
What point level? 1,000?
I think we started at 1,000.
Yeah.
But
that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
500. Sure. I think your first game should be 500, just so you can understand some movement and look at an index and see what it means.
Right.
But then really your practice game should always be around 1,000 to 2, like 1,000, and then you should go right into 2 and just stick at 2. But it's hard to get to 2,000 points because
for sure.
not only is it expensive, it's time consuming. There's a lot more combos involved with it. So like learning at 2,000 is that next step for sure. And it's quite an achievement to even get a 2,000 point army.
Oh, 100%. Like not only like I said, it's expensive.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not a painter. If I could just run gray models to everything, I probably would. Most of my
gray highlights.
Gray highlights. Oh, these aren't painted.
Yeah.
They just have a little bit of white highlights.
They're fantastic gray highlights.
Just give them a little spritz with some like light gray on top, and that's
Zenithal.
It's that Zenithal highlight, right?
Yeah.
Boom. I would love to do that. But like I said, so when I get into a game, when I get into a hobby, I am all in. So it wasn't that hard for me to get to 2,000 points. Few $100, maybe
You're
later.
Playing Knights.
Hopefully.
You had to buy like 3 models.
So my first army was Necrons.
Oh right, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Second army, I think a lot of people's second army is Knights of either flavor, because it's an easy one to get into, right? You only need it really, and we'll go into my tournament list. My tournament list is 8 models and some little assassin, and away you go.
Yeah,
so that's a great second army. So like I said, I have less experience than a lot of our contemporaries that have been playing since 9th edition, almost to my advantage in some instances, because like you and Tony talked about in first episode, you've got all of 9th edition rolling in your head, right, going into 10th, and poor Tony has how many more editions before that. Sometimes it's helpful because I know, for example, Pylin's different in 10th. That's the only Pylon I've ever learned.
Right.
That's all I know. That's all I know.
You're just not overloaded with information. You're still learning the information at hand.
That's right. Yeah. And I like to think I've come close to not mastering, but understanding the multitude of nuances in the game.
Kind of becoming second nature.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
and without having baggage, literal mental baggage from previous editions. So been good so far. And like I said, with the whole got to jump in feet first, play 2,000 points against Jake, get stomped a million times. The natural next progression was play with more people, learn to learn about the boxcar crew here at CAX and playing games with you guys. And then the next step is obviously going to play competitive, because I'm a hugely competitive person. If I'm going to do something, I want to be good at it. So instead of doing an RTT to start, we had a GT coming up here in town, my first tournament, and 2 days, 5 games. I ended up bringing my knights kind of because I just managed to get them all together and painted, and also because I like knights did get nerfed a little while back. The nerf that they got, for those not aware, is that with the last data slate, which was in September, I think it was.
Yeah, so for our viewers, I mean, yeah. I know why they got nerfed.
Yeah.
I know when 10th first came out, they were just dominating. That towering effect was so crazy.
I wasn't playing them then. I was still playing my Necrons during that, and it was basically when I got them. Yeah, right. Yeah. When I got them, they got nerfed.
Yeah.
Which was a little upsetting, because when you're doing your second army as Knights of some flavor, you're picking Chaos or Imperial, and Chaos way cooler models. Like there's no doubt about that. If you're into like the Chaos aesthetic,
I just hate painting trim.
There's trim everywhere. You're gonna find trim.
Oh, but Chaos trim.
Chaos trim is.
Look at the South and Sun trim. Like, oh my.
Oh, World Eaters trim, whatever. Knights trim, not so bad. It's just a lot of detail. That's where they get. There's teeth everywhere. There's horns everywhere. There's spikes everywhere.
Yeah, I painted a Knight Abominant actually.
Right.
And I made it a Death Guard theme, because obviously I wanted to. In 9th edition, it was a little different for how ally in. It's very similar, but I kind of made like a monster mash list. So I had an Abominant, Mortarion, and oh man, I think I had a Gradient Clean one or something. Just something massive.
Some big thing.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but it was like 3 big idiots.
Yeah.
And then I had some Plague Marines scoring points.
Sure. Yeah,
I absolutely got dominated. It was, I think I was going against Grey Knights, and it just like, it wasn't, no, it was stupid.
But, well, I don't, so you know better than I do. So in 9th edition, could Grey Knights kill big monsters and vehicles? Because they can't right now.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they can.
Because poor Jeremy goes up the tournament, and there was a lot of armor, and we'll get into it. But there's a lot of armor in this past tournament, this past weekend.
Yeah.
And our buddy Jeremy, who plays Grey Knights, was just smashing his head into a brick wall. He was hurting.
Yeah, we have a few people on our team in Bloodbath. So shout out to our teammates. But one of them is the top Grey Knight player. Actually, a couple of them are top Grey Knight players in Canada and in North America.
That's right.
And they win. You just gotta. You gotta play them.
Oh, it's a big brain army.
Yeah,
you gotta know where you can put your units, who's good into what,
and what can survive.
Which they can do. Right, they're 2 up, 4 up across the board almost. I think.
If you're on Termes, which is what you should be doing.
Oh, okay.
So they mass
even
Termes.
Just like I guess strikes. Yeah, strikes don't have 4 ups obviously, but still 2 ups.
They have 2 ups though. But you just mass Termes with some Librarians and Valdis, and then because the Termes come back.
Right.
And then the Librarians give you fight first. So you can kind of, if you miss a charge and someone tries to charge you, you're still fighting first.
Right.
Yep. So that's kind of your advantage. Yep. And also, like, their teleporting thing is great. Like, that's something that Necrons do very, very well right now, especially with the new Canoptic Court being kind of nerfed.
That's right. Yes. So Hyperphase is going to be the new hotness, obviously.
Hyperphase will be.
It actually just super good this weekend too. So I was seeing some stats online. This is a quick aside.
Segue. Yeah.
Canoptic Court is like the obvious #1 contender in the detachment, right, or in the codex. Hypercrypt is the big brain play. It's the Grey Knight Necrons, but in this past weekend of tournaments, I think Canoptech, don't quote me on the exact numbers, I was looking on online, the meta watch, right? Canoptech won a bunch of tournaments, right? I think they won like half of the GTs this weekend, with like a 62% win rate or something like that. Hypercrypt, people who play at Hypercrypt were at like a 63-64%. So they're right there. It's just not as like obvious, like you just take Wraiths, you just do the Immortal Bomb, and away you go. Hypercrypt, you got to be, okay, I'm picking up this, I'm not picking up this, I'm doing this, I'm moving there. So there's that, but we can get into that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, so Chaos versus Imperial Knights, right? The reason I went into Imperial Knights as my second army after doing some Necrons is I liked the Knight and Squire dynamic, right? The way Imperial Knights used to work pre-Data Slate in September was every big knight, so which is like your Questoris class, and if you want to do Forge World stuff, your Cerastus class and stuff like that, they give out what's called a bondsman ability in their command phase. So within 12 inches, you can give out this buff, and the buff is +1 ballistic skill, -1 incoming damage, advance and charge, assault, stuff like that, right? And it used to work that the big knight gave it to their little knight, and they both got the buff. They shared the buff. So you had to have this knight-squire dynamic. You had to keep your squire alive, otherwise you don't get your buff, right? So there's counterplay for the opponent. If maybe you are not going to be able to kill a strength 12, 22 wound big knight, but you could probably kill a toughness 10, 12 wound little knight, right? For sure you can. And if you pop that guy, if he doesn't have another one by, the big knight's not as effective. So that's why I got into them. And then, of course, the September data slate came around, and they said, no bondsman ability for big knights. You can still give it out, but you don't get it. Okay. They changed towering. So pre-data slate, there was everything that was towering got points increases across the board. I think except for the monolith, weirdly enough. Yeah. But anyway, the knights were for sure increased. They changed how they gave them the points increase, and then changed how towering works, so it's not nearly as effective, right? And they gave what was the other one? No overwatch to Titanic units in general, probably targeting Wraith Knights, I would assume, but obviously hits all the knights, all the big knights, like a hammer. Yeah, there's right? A bunch, yeah. Because you used to take the what is it, the Valiant, which is like the Dominus class knight, and had like a massive crazy flamer that Overwatch is like wild, right? And, I don't know the exact number.
And Overwatch being what it is now, it's definitely scary, right? So because you can do it. The one rule that I really like about Overwatch now, at first I hated it, but I really like it now, is that you can Overwatch after the charge. So that's something that 9th to 10th players don't realize sometimes, is that Overwatch, you can't just hide behind a building and not expect to get Overwatch, because it actually happened after the charge too. There's
some nuance to that though, because you can't shoot at a target that's in engagement range.
Right, but it's actually, if you read the Overwatch, it comes from, you can do before or after the charge.
Right.
So if the charge is after, the Overwatch still happens, but you just declare Overwatch that you're going to do it on the unit. That works? Yeah.
I've been told it doesn't, but I mean, that's a nuance.
Hey, and if viewers at home, you can correct me if I'm wrong. This is way, I've been corrected on it, because I play very much like myself. I play like 9th, and I sequence my minions to not be overwatched, to kind of hide. So it can still happen after the charge, unfortunately.
I've been told that it theoretically could happen at the end of the charge, but at the end of a charge, because it does say in the rules, at the start or beginning of a normal fallback move or charge, you can overwatch. That's the rule, right?
We can find it too here.
That might be the exact wording. I'm pretty good at this game. I don't know if you know, but
best overall here. Okay.
So, but the problem is that you are still limited by it, whether it's an eligible target, right? And if the target has completed its charge, it is in engagement range. So if you cannot shoot into engagement range, you can't overwatch. That's how I've had it explained to me.
Okay, so I guess.
So when could you ever overwatch at the end of a charge? There is the Lehman Russ Demolisher that can shoot into engagement range.
Maybe that's what it is, and also my Death Shrouds. My Death Shrouds have pistols for flamers.
Ooh, interesting.
Right?
Interesting.
So maybe that's what got me in my head, because I'm with Death Shroud. I'm going against an orc player, and like, you can do it after. I'm like, oh, okay, great. And that's when I learned it. I was like, oh man, that's so weird. It always gets me.
Yeah.
But they have pistol flamers, so I actually shoot in combat anyways.
Right. But when you're shooting a pistol in combat, you have to shoot at the target that you are engagement range with, right?
Yeah, so the one that charged you.
Oh, if they charged you.
But
say if they charged a different unit, right?
Oh, then no.
Then no, maybe not.
Then no.
That's actually,
hey, maybe in the comment section, can you guys clarify these rules? Because I'm actually looking up right now on the computer. We have one right beside us. I'm looking it up, but anyway. Maybe I don't know, and I'd love to learn it. I don't claim to be an expert at anything.
Yeah,
so
it's a complicated, complex game. There's a million nuances. You can do it. It's funny, and it's also one of those things where there's a rule that says you can do a thing, but have you taken into account that there's a rule that says you can't do a thing, and which one supersedes who, and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, second, we haven't even got to my first tournament, I guess. So I'm getting into Knights. I want to play competitive, more competitive atmosphere. I jump into a GT and I take my Knights. Not the one we just happened two days ago.
But the lists were the same, right?
The list is the same.
So can we just go over the list then?
100%.
Let's go over the list first, and then you can tell me about your previous GT from what you can remember of it, and
everything.
And then we're gonna go.
I'm like a vice
Oh, steel trap.
Just that's it, man.
The problem with steel traps is that if you see something you don't want to see.
Oh, that's true. That's 100%
true. You'll never forget it.
Can't forget. Can never unsee.
No, forever unclean.
Forever unclean. Is that the league?
Yeah.
You watch that? Forever unclean.
Yeah, Rexon.
So good.
So,
you go look at this.
I'm finding it. I'm finding this Overwatch stratagem, but go over your list, please.
Sure. So, same list. I've been running in tournaments. It sounds like I've been running it forever, but realistically, this has been like two months. So it's nothing crazy. Post nerf.
2 months is forever.
2 months is forever, right? Post nerf, so you have to take that into account because you're not playing the same big knights as you were before. Cause some of them really aren't that good if they don't get their bondsman ability. So my list is for big knights. I got 2 big knights. I go Knight Warden. The Knight Warden's whole jam is that his bondsman ability is that -1 damage. So you take an enhancement on him. And I should also mention this is a list very, very similar to something that won the South African National Championships in September. So not a complete new novel creation by me. I changed it a little bit, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Like it's not, I didn't think of all this by myself. So yeah, you take the Knight Warden, you give him the enhancement. I believe it's called the Mythic Hero enhancement. The enhancement lets you give your bondsman ability to 2 armatures.
Oh, so you dish it out twice.
Yeah, you dish it out twice, right? So 2 in your command phase. He himself, the platform, he does have like a pretty good melee weapon, like a big anti-tank smashy fist or axe or saw, whatever it is, the chainsaw, saw, whatever it is. He's okay in combat, but really you're taking him for the bondsman ability, and he has a half decent anti-infantry profile otherwise. 18 shots, hitting on 3s, strength 6, -2 damage with dev
Marine
wounds.
Killer.
With dev wounds, yeah. Marine Killer for sure. And a couple like, you can take him with a Flamer and stuff like that, a couple of extra things. You're taking him for the bondsman ability. And what that does for you as a knight player is because your armatures, that's your battle line. That's your front line units. You need them to go take points, take the front, take midfield. If you can give them -1 damage, that turns off so much incoming damage, depending on the matchup, right? You've got... see, looking over up Overwatch, you found it here.
Here we go. I think it's exactly the way you described it. So they'd have to be able to shoot in combat,
right?
So I never had an issue because of my pistol flamers, but
right. If they charge you,
1 unit from your army that is within 24 inches of that enemy unit,
and would be eligible to shoot if it were your shooting phase. Oh, you can pull it up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up right here for our viewers at home here. So. Right here. So 1 unit that from your army that is within 24 inches, that enemy unit that would be eligible to shoot if it were the shooting phase. So you have to consider it as the shooting phase.
100%.
So if you're in combat with the charged unit, so that's how it works.
So if they charged you, and you had pistols, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
If they charged a nearby unit, they're now in engagement range. Can't shoot them.
Now, okay. Well, here's a weird nuance though. So say it was a monster. So say a Shalaxi charged another unit.
Yes.
But you had like a Lehman Russ. So say you charged your guardsman, you had a Lehman Russ.
Right.
Lehman Russ could still shoot into that because it's a monster. And normally you would get, you know, your -1 hit, but it's already hitting on 6s anyways. So your Lehman Russ could overwatch into a charged unit if a Shalaxi charged into it that you couldn't see.
You would be limited by no blast, obviously. But yeah, if the target was a monster or vehicle that had charged, you're 100% correct.
Right.
Because would they be an eligible target in your shooting phase? Yes. Then our Overwatch away.
Then you're good. So really the check is...
There's a million different layering rules. Right? It's just wild.
So the check is... if you can do it in your shooting phase.
That's right.
That's the check.
Hey, there you go. We were both kind of right. Hey, I'll
almost
take,
there.
We're both almost there. Our powers combined can figure out one
the power
rule.
of Grayskull.
We can figure out one rule in this game. Great.
Oh my gosh.
That's good to know. That's very good to know. That's actually super good to know for me as a Grey Knight player. Imperial Knights player. You said Grey Knights, I said Imperial Knights.
Yeah.
A Knight player.
Yes.
My stuff could be overwatched even after a charge, potentially.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Yeah. That is good to know.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
So
now your Overwatch is whatever.
It depends on the unit. Depends on the unit. Some units Overwatch really well, some don't. Flamers are great, obviously. You know, Death Guard, Flamers, in Overwatch, great. Awesome. Love them. Right? So.
And full rerolls to wound. So.
Full rerolls to wound.
Usually, I put Lord of Virulence on it. But I'm trying to steer away from my Death Guard the next season here. Okay. I just kind of want to start something in 2024. I'm going to work on my Necrons and Sisters.
You have a new secret army? Or it's not secret?
No, it's not secret.
Not secret. That's too much pressure. You can't do another secret army.
No. Maybe. No, I can't.
You can't tell me. It's secret, obviously.
Yeah. You wouldn't know. You won't
know.
The
list, back to the list. The Warden giving us the Bondsman. We love that. Other big knight is your man, Canis Rex. He absolutely smashes. He's by far the hardest hitting knight, I would say, in the whole. Maybe the Lancer is a close second, or maybe slightly better, depending on the matchup. But he's crazy. He's all of his stuff is strength. I think his short range shooting attack is strength 14. His Fist of Liberty or Fist of Freedom, whatever it is strength 20. And you're sustained on 5s all the time with a free battle tactic for what it's worth, basically a free reroll.
Yeah.
And the little nuance for all the Knights players out there, Sir Hector, do not sleep on Sir Hector.
Why is that?
For those who don't know, when Canis Rex is destroyed, the model is destroyed, you pop out your little guardsman body Sir Hector with his little, I'm not sure what that is in the model. It looks like a little briefcase. It's like his power pack or something, I'm sure.
No, it's just important info.
It's it's got like a handcuff to his wrist to the box.
There's a lot of pens in there in case he ever needs to write a lot.
So many pens. Yeah. Just throwing pens on the battlefield. So your little Sir Hector pops out 3 inches away from your Canis Rex model. The way it works is Canis Rex is not considered destroyed until the opponent kills Sir Hector. No bring it down, no prisoners, no nothing. You have to kill Sir Hector. Now, Sir Hector, again, is just a little business boy. He's just a infantryman, like a little guard body, toughness 3, 5-up save, whatever it is. He does have lone op, though.
Oh, great.
He's huge. So I multitude of times, Sir Hector's popped out. He runs the fuck away. We allowed to swear on this, right? We're good?
Yeah, we're swearing. Yeah.
We're swearing. Guys, kids, put your kids to bed.
Just fucking listen. I'm just kidding.
So Sir Hector runs the fuck away.
Yeah.
And his lone op, he's doing investigate signals in the corner. He's doing engage on all fronts. If he's on an objective,
you mostly play tactical too,
cleansing.
Right? Like you go tactical.
I always go tactical, and I would love to find a fix that works for knights. It's just super tough. So I'll get into that maybe at the end of my list.
Okay.
But so you've got your big knight, Warden, Canis. You've got 3 Armiger Warglaves. They're your front line. I bring them with a little Melta, the little baby Melta on top, 12-inch Melta, normal Melta. They also have the Thermal Spear, which is a 24-inch Melta with, so within 12 inches, D6 plus 4 damage. Smashes. They have 2 shots with that.
Oh, wow.
Super, super good. That's 3 of those guys. They're better on the charge, all that goodness. Then I bring, so this is where I actually modify my list from the South African Nationals. He brought 6 Warglaves. Do you have it pulled up here?
Yeah.
Is this me? Yeah, there you go.
I have your 6 Warglaves
so that's 4, the Warglaves, 3 Warglaves, and I bring 3 Helverins. So the Helverins are the autocannon guys, right? So they...
Terminator killers.
Yes. Ideally, that's where you want to be, right? Or into fly targets, because Helverins have a special rule built into them, is that if they're wholly within your deployment zone or on an objective you control, they get anti-fly 2+.
Oh,
crazy good. Like no dev wounds built in.
What's their OC?
8. All of the Armigers are OC 8.
Wow.
The big guys are OC 10. They have to be, because that's what else are we holding objective with. That's it,
no,
right?
that makes sense. Yeah,
so
it used to be in 9th. It used to be your War Dogs were just OBSEC is what it's called. So that you could just, you have OBSEC, you beat out anything that's there. I like OC more. It makes more sense. Because I don't like the fact that if you didn't have an OBSEC, you didn't see you had 20 of them on a unit or on an objective.
OBSEC dude could come up.
Yeah, you could have 1 guardsman and 20 whatever it is.
Whatever,
yeah, and it's still the guardsman. So I like the OC factor. And it makes leadership a little bit more important, because it really wasn't important before.
Well, yeah. So I don't even know how it worked before. Like I mentioned before, I'm fresh.
I don't even want to get into
the 10th. Oh, there's a million different things. I'm sure it's not worth getting into.
Yeah.
So the Helverins, I like them. They can be a little bit like, sometimes the anti-fly rule never comes up, right? I played so this weekend. We'll get into it. I played into like Orcs, Astra Milatarium, Orcs again, Chaos Knights. Literally no fly anywhere. So it doesn't come up all the time, but they're still shooting 8 shots. Hitting on 3s, strength 9, AP 1, 3 flat damage. like you said, Terminator killers, right? If you can get in the right angle, and ideally they don't get any cover, and with the Armor of Contempt, you're trying your best.
Sure you are.
So that's the bulk of the army. The allied units, we're going to see a Calidus Assassin, of course. We're Imperial Knights. We don't play objectives well. We're bad at secondary objectives. Calidus is shoring up that gap for us. And also she's good. She can make a battle tactic cost 1 more. Can be clutch in a game, right? If
you vect something.
Of course, you vect, right? Exactly. And then I have 40 points left over. You throw in a little Inquisitorial Henchman Squad. Little, again, guard bodies. 2 wounds each, though, so they can kind of like little bit of indirect. Doesn't always take them out.
That's good, yeah.
They're sitting on your home field objective, and they're scoring you points. That's all they do. They're not doing anything. They do have strangely enough, and it's come up a couple times, they do have the grenade keyword. You can do a cheeky little grenade strat every so often.
Love that. I love that
Death Guard loves some,
I love
grenades.
Yeah. Mortarion has grenade.
Mortarion does have grenades.
He does.
What is? Don't you have one that can do grenades for free?
Yeah, the Biologists.
I fucking hate grenades.
Yeah, it's only once per game, but some of the competitive lists are running 3 of them, and they'll do a Plague Marine spam. They'll come out of Rhinos.
Yeah.
So say if there was 2 5-man squads of Plague Marines, and then led by 2 Biologists. Yeah. In a Rhino, because you do 12, you latch out.
Yeah.
You kind of come up with both, and then say you had another one led by Biologists, like coming in from another Rhino, or like because it's all about Rhino Plague Marines.
Yeah, for sure. Right.
My list is completely different. Anyways, but you kind of come
would
with
never do this madness. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I might.
Yeah, exactly.
But you come out, and then so they each can do it because it can happen even if another one did it. So you could go grenade, and then you can do the real grenade strat with Mortarion. So say a unit was surrounded by, just say it was in the center.
Yeah.
Mortarion runs up.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you deploy your 2 Plague Marines out of the Rhinos with the 2 Biologists attached to them.
Yep.
And then maybe a 10-man kind of comes in with it's also attached with a Biologist.
Yeah.
Comes in and you go grenade, Mortarion grenade.
Now, again, not to get too in the weeds with rules, and who needs the rules, obviously.
Yeah, they all have to be within 8 inches.
So
of course,
for sure within 8 inches, the way, because we used to have, so in Necrons, we had the Hexmark Destroyer. We do have the Hexmark Destroyer, who had a similar interaction, but with Overwatch, right?
Yeah.
And the way I had it explained to me, or the way I understand it at least, is you have to, and maybe you said this already. I didn't maybe I missed. You
just weren't listening.
I just tuned out. I was like, you said grenades like 17 times, and I'm like, well, I'm done here.
It's okay. I
don't care anymore. No, so you have to pay for the first one. That's how I understand it. You have to pay the CP cost for the first one, and then the next one becomes free.
Yep.
Now, depending on the wording of the ability, I guess, because I don't know the Biologist.
It says even if.
Doobity-doo-ba-doo. Right, even if you've used it once already.
Yeah.
So
and
then
it's only once per game.
Keep chaining it?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd have to look into the, because I was told that you couldn't keep training it, but it could just be differently worded than the Hexmark Destroyer.
But it's only once per game. So like the Hexmark can only do it once, right? Or you can do it all the time.
Used to be able, an Index Hammer, right, could just shoot infinity times.
Yeah.
It actually changed it now that it is just once per battle round, I think, or turn, whatever it is.
Cool. This is once per game. These grenades. So
8 grenades.
Yeah, I think again, discussing resilient. I hope you guys are listening. Aiden kind of taught me that trick. He went against I think a Nightbringer, and he brought 2 Biologists against it, and then Mortarion, and he threw a grenade with Mortarion, and he did Biologist grenade, and then he shot it after.
I think so. None of my,
which is crazy to me.
It's so good. It's so good, and I think when the one time I played you, I think maybe you fell back from one of my Armadures or a Knight or whatever, and then threw grenades, and I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
You don't even have to be eligible to shoot.
No, you don't.
You just have to be not in engagement.
Yeah.
And within 8 inches, whatever it is, blah, 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 and away you go. So,
yeah.
Anyway, cheeky little Inquisitorial Henchman Squad. For those Knight players out there, don't sleep on those grenades. When people are infiltrating your back line, and hopefully you survived maybe by the skin of your teeth, throw that 1-2 little dudes back in there and fucking grenade those Storm Boys. Grenade those whoever it is back there. So that's the list. Took it to 2 tournaments so far, one in December, one just this past weekend. And was talking to the boys before the first tournament. We don't have to break that one down because that's a month and some old at this point, but I was hoping, again, being new to 40K, just having started a few months ago, I just didn't want to get skunked. I didn't want to get shut out.
Sure.
I wanted to get a win under my belt. My real goal was to get 2 wins. But
you got more.
I got more. I got a little bit more.
Yeah. You're in the positive. You're at 66.
I was in the positive.
Yeah, 66%.
I got
66% win rate. Right?
Yeah.
Win rate.
Win rate or a win rate.
That's the thing that we're doing. We're just not pronouncing our R's.
Who needs them?
Yeah.
I got absolutely face rolled my first 2 games, but. So face rolled as in like, so it was World Leaders and then Space Marines, whatever the Vanguard one is, where if you're at -1 to shoot from outside of 12, whatever that detachment is. Is kind of an armored Space Marine. I think it's not Vanguard. I don't know.
Glavis.
Who knows Space Marine stuff? We're not Space Marine
Is that
players.
Glavis?
We don't.
No, that's their armor. No, Glavis because they have Gravis armor. I think it's a Glavis attachment because it's minus. No, because they can do different. I don't know.
I'm not going to pretend I know Space Marine stuff.
Can you guys just comment what we're talking about?
Someone tell us how it works.
Yeah. Anyway. All I know is that I go against them, and then I sometimes win and I sometimes lose.
That's kind of how it works. Usually,
Oh,
right?
whoops.
So I went to World, not to get too details, but World Leaders, Space Marines, some kind of detachment. Got beaten handily. I think they both picked up. I think the Space Marine for sure got 100. The World Leaders guy got 90 something. But I actually had reasonably high scoring losses. So it was a 76. This is in.
What was your first matchup?
Not this one. This is another one. The first one.
Which one was your first one?
Oh, where are you?
No, these are all the lists you want.
No. This is. I'm talking about the first tournament. Tournament.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Which we won't get too detailed in. We'll get into this one for sure.
Sure. I see what you're saying.
But close losses, 76, 75 to 100 to a 90, whatever.
Okay, so yeah, you put up a score.
I was shocked in the World Leaders. The World Leaders just freaking run across the board and just wipe me. It was wild.
The aggro deck,
freaking nuts. Angron fighting on death.
So cool.
Here was the quick. I won't get into it too much. It was one of the coolest moments ever. Player's name is Bryn. He's such a nice guy, super good player. Certainly in World Leaders. And now that I know more about World Leaders, they don't always take the 4-up fight on death. But he knew that I had a Canis that was about to charge his Angron that could just punch Angron in half.
Right.
He took the fight on death. Canis charged, made it, killed Angron. Angron rolled a 4, fought on death, killed Canis. Both are now dead. He uses a strat to roll a blessing roll right there. Of course, he rolls 666s and brings Angron back. This was the top of turn 2, I think.
Yeah, turn 2.
Brings him back in the bottom of turn 2.
I remember I went up to you that day. Yeah.
Catastrophic. The game's over. Yeah. Just wipe it. Just forget about it. It was super, super cool. Loved it. That tournament went. The rest of my games went really well. Managed to pull 3 and 2, going into the end, and so. We're looking at the scores at the end, but as they're like setting up to give out trophies and whatnot, and it turns out I landed, I think it was 8th or 9th. I want to say 9th place, but best Imperium. So me and Tony were like, Tony got best Chaos, I got best Imperium. That's cool because there is trophies for that, right? Obviously, this is a 45 player, 42 player, something like that.
Yeah, it was in the 40s for
right?
sure.
Reasonably amount of people.
I didn't play.
You're too cool for us.
No.
Too busy.
No.
You're a busy man.
Yeah. But I mean, I wanted to. I think Thomas runs great events. So.
Yeah. Oh, super fun. Yeah. Great. So, turns out I ended up taking down best overall, which was I keep saying it. I was the most surprised person because my army's not the best painted. I came out with a okay like point score because I managed to have those close losses, but only a 3 and 2. But I did tie for sportsmanship score, which probably got me there. So first tournament ever, taking home best overall was crazy.
That's amazing.
That was wild.
And
that was crazy.
First tournament ever.
Yeah.
And I could even say, I've been playing with you now for a couple months.
2 months, yeah.
And your skill level, like it surprises me that you've only been playing 5 months. I have to say, you're making the right moves. And it's scary because as your opponent at the time, I'm like, okay, well, how do I? I gotta navigate. So it's always good to have an opponent that is good and we can learn from. So
100%.
I really enjoy that too. So that's why I enjoy our only game that we've actually.
Yeah, I think we just played the one time, but holy crap, did I learn what Death Card can do in that matchup? Because that's a rough one for me too. Because it's actually one of my worst. Is it?
Yeah.
And why is it hard?
It's hard for me to get in range of you to try to. So you can come up on me, and it's really hard for me to get you off those objectives. And I can't really kill things. I got the entropy cannons, but I mostly kill a lot of infantry and try to whittle you down in a grinding match.
Right.
So I generally don't like the matchup.
Right.
But Like I like more against like I favor more against orcs and like mass infantry.
Yeah,
and
bunch of boys just
guardsman's one of my worst. Tau is one of my worst, and knights.
That does make sense. I think what you did was interesting when we played was...
And also also my toughness doesn't matter. So I give the contagion of -1 toughness to every unit around me.
Yeah.
That does not affect you really. Because you're going from 10 to 9 or you're going from 11 to 10.
Well, you didn't choose that one.
You always get it. You always get that one.
Oh, you always get that and you get another one. Yeah. Right. So the toughness doesn't matter super much. You're right.
Right. So that's already one of my main things kind of just a wash.
Right. That's right. Perfectly fair.
Yeah.
But the thing I thought was smart that you did was you picked the whatever the other contagion is.
Weapon skill, ballistic skill, I think.
Right. Instead, because I see a lot of Death Guard players going -1 armor save.
Yeah. Which is really good.
But I'm hitting on 3s with everything. If you can make me hit on 4s on everything, you're actually pretty resilient. That's a lot. That's a lot less damage coming your way. So it's very smart.
And there's other ways to stack it too, right? If you go, charging into my neck, or it doesn't really affect your the Nurglings don't really affect you.
Right.
Just because they don't affect anything that's a monster or a vehicle. So
is that true?
Yeah.
Jesus, I learned that one. I should have looked that up because I had. We'll talk about it if maybe we get into the weeds on my
Nurglings don't affect attack on Cax. I have to make that ruling too, because I think Shalaxi was charging into whatever it was, and there was Nurglings there, and it actually doesn't affect her.
Good to know.
Good monsters and vehicles.
Good to know for future.
It's a good one, but it was Typhus that got you.
Yes.
Because Typhus attached to your unit gets -1 to hit, and then you get -1 weapon skill, ballistic skill. So now you're hitting on fives
and
fives
crying,
and
it's
the worst.
That's it.
Yeah, it's
and to add insult to injury, we were playing sports ball, freaking deploy servo skulls with the 4 objectives. Like, what is this? The fact that is an official tournament legal. I don't think any tournaments do it anymore. But it was out of the gate an official tournament like layout and like matchup is wild. That thing is
for context for the viewer. The football is they add an extra objective and then you have to move the objective. I forget what the mission's called, but you move objectives if you control it.
Deploy servo skulls.
Yeah, deploy servo skulls, and then they added an extra one as the mission rule.
Yeah. So you got 4 objectives in the middle.
Cleansed
are moving every turn. Back and forth.
I cleansed 2 objectives with 1 Nurgling squad.
Of course.
Because they're just so close.
They're really, you can just move them into you and just like...
yeah, they're like right there.
Cleansing
with 2 Nurglings.
That just sounds wrong. It's not right.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, they're not clean.
Putrefying. That's right, yeah. So I had never played... I kind of got lucky, so to speak, because I never played Imperial Guard on the table, like in real life. I played Death Guard, T-Suns, Custodians, like a fair amount of different matchups. Never played Guard, until extremely recently. I finally sat down, and it takes a little bit of setup, but I set up TTS on my computer, right? Tabletop simulator. For those who don't know, you can do a million different board games. But you can do there's mods to do 40K pretty succinctly and pretty cool.
Yeah, you can do anything.
You can do anything. It's wild. So my brother plays Guard, has a very small Guard army, like maybe 500 to 1,000 points. We just haven't sat down and done it properly yet. But as soon as we both got TTS going, the first thing he did is play Guard. So I actually, before this tournament, coincidentally, had like maybe 4 or 5 games into Guard.
Oh, okay.
Loved it. So got That's super really lucky. Good. Yeah, super good. So this list that his name was Jonah that I played this weekend, super nice guy. His list was actually pretty. So I don't think Guard is a good matchup into Knights, because if you have indirect, I don't care. Your indirect guns are, I don't know, it ranges, but like they're not really over strength 10.
But those demolisher cannons are pretty good.
Demolisher cannons are super good.
Yeah.
Demolisher
I mean, they kill Knights.
Super good. Yes. Yeah. Strength 12, something like that, somewhere around there, right?
Is it D6 plus 1?
D6 plus 1 shots. Yeah, like that's priority target. You know? And when you're playing Knights competitively, that is you have to be, as soon as you look at their list and they run it down for you, even if you're not familiar with what the list is, listen for the strength numbers and be like, that's the target. Because even though Knights are a bottom 5 win rate army right now, if you can take out the threats, what are they going to do to you? Are you going to throw a bunch of like the command squad with Mr. Solar on his horse at me? Go right ahead.
Yeah,
you might
stop me from moving.
You might auto-see me. You might gun me up, but all it takes is me falling back with one dude and shooting everything into those guys, and they're evaporating. Right?
Yeah. So this list had Acadian command squad, plasma pistol, power fist, drill commander enhancement. Then yeah, vet.
So yeah, that's just your command squad. They've got a Vox, they've got a med packs, they've got the 5-up feel, 6-up feel no pain. They got a feel no pain of some kind.
Yeah.
Load Solar is giving multiple orders. So this is actually interesting tech here. So this is their regimental engine seers.
Okay.
So I've seen some lists run 1.
Mm-hmm.
Running 2, they're 45 points each. Damn. Every list should run 2 if you're playing guard, I think. Because what they
do
for the
viewers, what do they do?
So yeah, for the viewers, in the command phase, they I think they might give a small other buff, but the important buff they give is a 4-up invulnerable save.
Okay.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge, especially when I have Warglaives running up with Meltas all over their heads and everything like that. That's huge. A 4-up invulnerable is massive. He throws that on his 2 Demolishers. I think he actually has 3 in the list, but he throws that on a couple of them.
I think he does,
away he goes. So Engine Seer, got your Cadian Shock Troops. I don't
scoring.
Yeah, I don't worry about that stuff. Was it 2 Basilisk? 2 Basilisk. Hellhound for his infantry. 2 Hellhounds for his infantry. I think 3 Demolishers if you scroll down. Yep. 3 Demolishers kitted out.
And an Exterminator. Oh, so that's the anti-infantry one, right?
That's the anti-infantry one, but I think the Exterminator, don't quote me on this, the Exterminator gives, even if it hits, gives +1 AP or something like that to everybody else who shoots the same target. So not super good in the Knights, but still a little bit techie helpful.
It's still chip damage.
And chip damage, of course. Demolisher, Rattling Snipers is just objective stuff. Regimental Attaché we don't care about. Scout Sentinels. Don't sleep on Scout Sentinels. I think Scout Sentinels are great. Basically, for those who don't know, they're not super tough. They're little walker dudes that move reasonably fast. I think toughness 7 or something like that. So I'm taking them down pretty easy.
Yeah.
But in the shooting phase, they kind of like spot for your indirect guns. So if you've been spotted by a Scout Sentinel, again, don't quote me on the exact words. This is me learning this as I play against it. But spot with a Scout Sentinel, and whoever shoots, if you have indirect shooting at that target that you've spotted, you negate the indirect penalty.
Great.
Right.
Yeah.
So your Basilisks are hitting better. Your Medusas, all this backline stuff is hitting better.
No, right? It's a great thing. I do that a lot with Death Guard too. Right, I can ignore it with Mortarion, the minus,
right. Yeah,
but Lord of Virulence, if Lord of Virulence can see you,
right, he spots for them, right?
In a way, right? What ends up happening if line of sight is with the Lord and not necessarily with anything?
Gotcha.
Any blast weapon hitting that target is +1 to hit.
Right, so you're getting rid of half of
and
the
ignores
indirect.
cover.
Oh, so you're getting rid of the whole effect.
The whole effect. And
so
then,
only blast weapon though. That's interesting. But it's weird, but interesting. Yeah.
Only with blast.
Yeah.
Now, however, it also works with Mortarion because you can ignore modifiers. So you're actually hitting on 2 with your indirect. If they're within 6 inches of Mortarion.
So I played a couple. So I played you with you played your Mortarion pretty aggressive. So you didn't sit back and just let your Plague Burst Crawlers get bonuses. You want to go smash things, obviously. I've played against other Death Guard who just sit there Mortarion back with their Plague Burst Crawlers and just fucking shell you for 2 or 3 rounds and then run them in kind of thing. So, but anyway, so this list didn't have a lot of trouble with it, honestly. The Demolishers, the 3 Demolishers is target number 1.
100%. They're the things that kill you.
100%. And the target number 2,
stop you from playing the game.
The kind of 2.5 or 1.5 target is those the engine seers, the regimental engine seers,
right?
Because they're keeping the Demolishers alive, right? So I think it might have been turn 2. I can move up pretty fast. So this is another quick pro tip. Get this ahead of the game. When you're playing Imperial Knights, your army rule is your Code Chivalric. So your Code Chivalric is you basically pick a quest or a mission, right? Both quests give you an inherent buff to start, and then you're trying to do something in the game to get honored, to become honored. So there's two choices. There's Lay Low the Tyrant, I believe is the name, which is kill the Warlord. It's I think the only rule in the whole of 10th edition that cares about the Warlord at all. So when I ask people in the beginning of the game, who's your Warlord? He's like, why? And I'm like, because it's actually relevant for me. Relevant information. The buff that gives is you get to reroll 1/1 to hit and 1/1 to wound per activation. So fight phase, shoot phase, whatever.
So it's Eldari.
Kind of. It's worse Eldari. Eldari have the better rule of
why everybody. Are you worse than Eldari?
How dare I?
Yeah.
That's well, Eldar's number 1 or 2, and I'm number the bottom 5.
You're number whatever it is.
Whatever that number
is.
Yeah. So it used to be, actually, that's another nerf that we got. We get lots of nerfs. That's what we take nerfs.
As you do.
It used to be reroll all 1s. reroll all ones. Now it's a 1 and then a 1. That's all it is.
Oh, so what if you don't roll ones?
Then you don't get rerolls.
Okay, but you're hitting them anyways, right?
Well, you're rolling a 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever. So you can choose that one. That's your mission, your quest is to slay the warlord. So if you kill their warlord, you become honored, and in your next command phase, it doesn't happen immediately, which is also kind of a weird, kind of sucks thing. In your next command phase, you become honored, you get 3 CP, and your 6-up Feel No Pain, that is the detachment roll, becomes a 5-up.
How often do you trigger that?
Very rarely.
Really?
I would say, I will also say, I don't take Slay the Warlord very often. I actually take the other one. So before I say how often it happens, the other one is Reclaim the Realm, which the mission, the quest, is to control their home deployment objective, and the boost you get is +1 charge, +1 movement, +1 advance.
Okay.
Super good. It's kind of got slept on for a long time because when we were reeling all 1s, that was the obvious choice.
Yeah, for sure.
Now that it's just been nerfed, you look for a cheeky. What I sometimes do is keep Canis Rex, for example, in reserve if they have a ton of anti-tank shooting. Keep Canis Rex in reserve and look for an 8-inch charge out of strategic reserve. Walk on the board, charge 8 inches.
8 inches, that's great.
Remember when I was asking questions about what is the math on a 9-inch charge? What's the math on an 8-inch charge?
What was the math on 8? 23?
Oh, no.
No.
Way more than that.
No, it is way more.
I don't remember, but
yeah.
But and then I was like, okay, what if I have a reroll?
Actually, I can bust it right now.
Yeah, if you can find that.
Why you ramble? I'm gonna find out what.
So I actually, more often than not, if they have a warlord who's gonna be in your face fighting, like sometimes against Angron. Like Angron, I might take Slay the Warlord because he's going to be a missile and probably die at some point. Mortarian's a weird one because Mortarian's tough as goddamn nails, and you're kind of playing him mid-board E. You might not run him in. If they have a Warlord that's going to smash your face and you can probably kill him in, say, turn 2 or 3, maybe you take Slay the Warlord. If it's questionable, or they have a Farseer who's never going to see combat as the Warlord, you just take Reclaim the Realm, get +1 to all your movement and stuff. Did you find it?
I did find it.
Yeah.
41.7%
is a 8-inch charge with no reroll.
No reroll.
If you got a reroll in pocket, it jumps up to like a 55 or something like that. It's actually, I think it makes it
41.7 plus 41.7 divided by 2. 62%. 62.55%. Yeah. So with a reroll, it's 62.55.
That's with an 8-inch charge.
Yeah. Oh, you're kind of fuzzy there. It's
sorry,
okay.
Sorry.
It's all good. So how we do that and how we get to that conclusion is we go 41.7% plus 41% or 0.7% divided by 2. No brackets, because then bed mass exists and then it finds us a percentage.
I blacked out right there.
Oh wow.
I blacked out.
Well, don't.
No, listen. That's like another good tech play for Knights players. That's how you find the edge, right? Is these small rules that you're like, oh, re-rolling 1s is good.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, you're good. Re-rolling 1s is good, but if I can find an 8-inch charge with a re-roll at whatever 66% or something like that, that's huge. That's crazy good. So anyway, in this game, back to this game, his warlord is Lord Solar, Horse Lord guy. He's in a squad of 20 dudes, I think, that with the command squad and the infantry squad. I'm going to chew through them eventually, but not quickly. So you go, the movement's always good, super good, especially when I only have really 8 actual bodies on the board. I always go tactical. That's the other thing I was going to say. We were going to mention after the army list, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to go fixed with knights because we don't play tactical very well. The problem is finding the combination of fixed that works well, right? So
okay, so if you were to shoot in the dark, what would your 2 fixed objectives want to be?
Yeah, right. So without knowing the list, right? Just going into a tournament, I'm like, my brain says I'm going to go fixed. I'm going with knights. Geez, it's tough. That's a hard thing to say. I would say you probably go engage on all fronts and deploy teleport homers. Maybe if you're taking a Calidus. right? Because Calidus can shore up some deploy, engage. You just have to be in the board, be playing the game. You don't actually have to do actions. Anything you have to do actions like cleanse, teleport homers is tough, but it's just one.
For sure it is tough with Knights.
You don't have the actions to spare, right?
Yeah. I personally love fixed. Tactical scares me, but that's why I want to get into more of the Sisters and the Necron realm. I've obviously been playing them for years, but I want to get back into them again because Death Guard is just it's a far better army at fixed.
Yes, for sure.
We don't move.
For sure, 100%. You slap down on an objective, you hold it forever, you sticky it, you cleanse it, you deploy it, whatever.
Yeah,
100%.
And the way my list is built is totally around fixed.
Yeah, 100%. So I would love to find a good fixed combo for Knights. The problem is that we can't do actions on objectives, so cleanse is out immediately. We only have, so in my list, 8 big bodies that are doing stuff like shooting, fighting, whatever. Weird, again, kind of like tech piece. Vehicles and monsters, big guns never tire, are eligible to shoot while they're in combat. Sometimes it comes up, right? I'm stuck in the middle. I can still kind of deploy a teleport homer maybe with a warglaive who's stuck in the combat, right? I'm missing out on 3 Melta shots. Who cares if you're mobbed down by cultists or whoever, right? The problem is when I go into a game, I always consider fixed. So if they give me a lot of bring it down, I'll consider bring it down and something. I find that I have a hard time with Knights finding that and something.
Okay.
Right? The Calidus is in the list, in my list. I don't even know if I got to it. And we said Calidus, we said the henchman, all that good stuff.
Your list is done.
Calidus is specifically in the list to basically do tactical secondaries. Right, she could do fixed, like she could do deploy,
easy behind enemy lines, capture enemy lines.
She could do all these things. Yeah. The problem I think with doing that, and the problem I found in practicing it, is as soon as I put the Calidus down for behind enemy lines, or I put the Calidus down for deploy in the enemy deployment zone, they run at her because that's my fixed game right there. My Knights are tied up. My Knights are fighting. They're doing stuff. They can't be doing actions right anymore. So I haven't found a good fixed combination. I think a weird one, and maybe you could shed some light on this too, actually. One of the fixed objectives you can choose is Storm Hostile Objective. Yeah. My brain says that's a good one to pick because you want to be taking objectives from your opponent the whole game. And the only counterplay to it is your opponent not holding objectives. I
like Storm Hostile, and it's only in certain matchups. So I go Storm Hostile when it goes in a matchup where I'm going to be trading the objective. So much like World Leaders, Orcs, anyone who's going to be in my face, I tend to go the Storm Hostile. What ends up happening at the end of the day is, okay, I'm going to put something on the objective and steal it from you. Okay, I got that. Okay, now you're going to kill my unit, and then I'm going to send in the second wave in. Right. So we're just trading. So
that's good for you, though. You want to trade with Storm Hostile, right?
Yep. That's what you want to do. Yeah. Or you want them to have no objectives. Either way, right?
That's what I was thinking is the worst case scenario, they're not taking primary. Great, they're losing the game. They're not taking primary, you lose.
Yeah.
But I don't see a lot of Storm Hostile Objective in people taking fixed. I see a lot of deploy. I see a lot of cleanse. I see a lot of behind sometimes, engage.
Yeah, bring it down.
A lot of, obviously, bring it down if they give it up. Assassination if they give it up. I see maybe Storm, because I think there's only 7. I think I see Storm the least.
I've chosen a few times, and I've always come on top. Okay. And it's only, again, certain matchups, but the way my particular list plays, I'm always kind of like in their face. Right. And we can get into this another episode. Just a main strategy of objectives. Yeah. So just a brief summary of it. It's if you have 3 usually in no man's land.
That's right.
Right. So you have to choose as the player. You have to choose one that's yours. That you're going to fortify it.
That's right.
So you have your non-negotiable objective, which is your home.
Right.
If you lose that one, you generally lose the game.
Sure, for sure.
So that's non-negotiable. You always have to control that one. Okay.
You're in trouble. Yeah.
Your next one you want to choose is your fortify. So you want to get to the one that's closest to you that you can probably get up and get a few units on there that no one's ever going to touch.
Yes. Right.
All right. The next, then the middle one usually it's usually the one in the middle is your kill zone.
Yeah. The kill zone, the contested.
Yeah. So you're going to be going this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then you have your next one, which is what you call your sabotage. So you're trying to sabotage the opponent and win them off primaries by killing that one.
Yes.
Now, when Storm Hostile Objective, if you're going to be taking a Storm Hostile Objective, you have to understand that your fortify is probably going to be traded. you have to understand that your kills and your sabotage is going to be back and forth.
Right.
So you have to understand the matchup in that regard to know where you're going to be.
Is it going to be waves?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be someone sitting on it the whole time?
Well, and if you're playing Worldlies, they're going to be they're right in your face anyways.
They're waves, constant waves.
Yeah. So,
but at most like 3 waves probably. So yeah, you're right, 100%.
But then last of 3 waves, and then get them off all objectives.
Then whatever, you're done.
Yeah, and then you already win, right? And you can't score till turn 2 anyways.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Exactly
so cleanse you can go 1.
That might actually also be a reason you don't see it as much, because you can't score at first turn. Probably not scoring at first turn, right? Because deploy you can score at first turn. Oh, you literally can't.
You literally can't.
On the card. Yeah. You literally can't.
It says don't do it.
It says put this back in the deck.
yeah, exactly.
But you're not putting anything in decks. That's a very good point. Probably that probably factors in the decision making a lot of people who are taking fixed.
Right. So
very good point.
Especially if you go second, then you can just kind of set up the time, or you set up the charge. Right.
That's right.
Generally, you don't want to do that.
Of course. Right? Yeah. You don't want to give up primary for the sake of scoring.
But they're going to be on that point. If you go second, they're going to be on there.
Very interesting.
Boom. You get a free points. If you're going first, then set up the charge. Let them charge it some fodder. So in my case, cultists. Put the cultists on that center objective.
Yeah.
Or the sabotage, or the fortify. You already have units, so if they want to get there, they can.
Right.
But those 2 are the ones that are important.
And you're 100% right. That's like this is the newbie speaking, but that's your triangle, right? Home, safe objective, and your contested objective. Kill zone objective.
It's usually 5 objectives.
That's your triangle. Fight your triangle. If you can win that triangle, that's the game. That really, 9 times out of 10, that's the game.
That's how you score primary.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why maybe Grey Knights have a hard time, because they are so mobile that who is going in the kill zone in a Grey Knights list, right? Not that they can't do it, but I think that's the hard decision for a Grey Knights player. Who's going to be in the kill zone? How do you take the kill zone? How do you hold the kill zone?
Just Terminators with a brother, right?
Yep.
Probably.
That's the answer, right?
Or whatever.
That makes sense.
Now, the thing that Grey Knights can do so well, though, is they can disrupt the non-negotiable.
100%.
Right? So if your opponent has a non-negotiable, and just so we know, and I want to be clear here, I learned all this stuff from Art of War.
Sure. Yeah.
They are fantastic.
Clutch,
John
huge.
Lennon is nuts at the game.
They're crazy.
He's
wild.
Nuts. I listen to a few of their podcasts. I've listened to, their YouTubers ad nauseum.
Are you in the war room?
No, I used to be though.
So it's funny.
I used to be.
Amazing content. No slight to them. A little bit expensive. Right, for sure.
I think it's like what, $12 for the Warzone?
No. I remember that I subscribed to them on YouTube to get access to their member-only games.
All right, guys, listen up, Art of War. Go ahead.
Listen to this guy. I know what's up. You guys don't know what's happening. I know what's up. I think they have a bronze, silver, gold membership, and I don't know if you get the war room with all of them. But I remember I wanted to see it was a Knights versus something matchup in the members only video. Yeah. So I was like, I'll just sign up for bronze. I didn't even get access to the video, and then I signed up, which was $5, I think, or whatever it was.
Okay.
Then I signed up for silver, which was I think $20, and I still didn't get access to it. So I was like, damn, they really want you to fucking buy in on this stuff. Which all the power to them. Make your money, make good product. People want to pay for it. They want to pay for the war room. All the power to them. No shade at all. People like Tabletop Titans. $5, you pretty much get everything, right?
Do you pay for them?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome.
The Tabletop Titans.
No, they're awesome.
Bridger's a champ. Love Bridger. I love Bridger too. When it's funny. Okay, we're getting way off the side, but
yeah. Well, we'll get back to the tournament here in 1 second. Let's talk about YouTube content.
Let's talk about Bridger for a second. We love Bridger. So when Bridger is a Knights player, he's played on stream a few times on their streams, and when Knights got nerfed, I was like, what do I even do? I just started this Knights army. I'm like, I have the core of an army, and we just got nerfed into the ground. And I was panicking mentally, and I was watching one of their streams, and I actually caught it live for the first time, and I never usually catch them live.
Do you ever chat with them?
So I was in the chat, and I sent a super chat.
Yeah. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I sent because I know
good.
I know the conversion rate is weird with Canadian versus American and blah blah.
I think it was like $7.99 or something.
Whatever it is. But I sent $20 just to make sure. I was like, it will come through. It's going to be on the stream. It'll be good. And I was like, hey Bridger, now that Knights got nerfed, who are you taking for Questoris Knights? Who are you taking in your list? And it was no shade to Bridger, obviously, but it was the least satisfying answer. He's like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yep. Sweet.
That's pretty funny.
I was like, all right. Cool.
Yeah. Oh,
so anyway.
Yeah, we're trying to learn.
We're trying to learn.
Yeah. And I try to catch their Officers Lounge too on Thursdays.
Yeah.
I like watching that.
Oh, they're super good.
Me and my daughter kind of fall asleep. So again, shout out to you guys. It's not the fact that you're boring. It's just it's long. So my daughter tends to fall asleep in my arms watching Tabletop Titans.
100%.
And it's awesome.
You have your play on tabletop 40K in 40 minutes. You have your long form 3-hour games. One is, I think, tabletop in 40 minutes is your entertainment factor. Like you said, you turn on an episode of the show.
They're episodes. We even had them here.
Yeah, I remember watching.
Yeah, we had them here in CAX.
Yep.
And they were on the podcast and everything else. And I even told Nick, when my daughter was born, we actually just sat there and watched in the hospital. Like it was something that the family could get together and just watch because it's easy watching. The animations are great.
High production value, exactly. There's animations, there's drama. They get the hard hitting points that happen during the game.
Yeah, and the characters are entertaining, and by characters I mean the people.
Yes, 100%.
And when they were here, it was awesome. Hanging out with them was really cool, and I really enjoyed them. So, I still do to this day, and I pay for Patreon.
I watch all of them. They're great. They're amazing. It's a different beast than watching a 3.5-hour battle report. Obviously, You're not going to learn nuance. You might learn cool things here and there. You'll get the excitement high points, but it's a different, and I'm sure they would agree, it's a different show. And there's nothing wrong with that. Amazing in their own right. They absolutely kill it. So,
yeah. All right. So now that we had our segue. So how was the match?
The match was relatively easy. I think I actually have the numbers here. That was an 89-63 victory for me. So not he skunked me on a couple secondaries here and there. Not super tough. Once my Warglaves get in with their like 3 Melta shots at least, even a Demolisher is going down. I pulled Assassination in the second round, which means Engine Seers need to die right now. I've already got stuff staged up the board by second turn. Engine Seers are getting popped. I think I got both of them. I only scored one of them, but I got both of them in the second round. So no more 4-up invulns on the Demolishers, and the Demolishers kind of crumble after that, right? So
all right,
okay game, easy game to start off.
So round 2, what did you go against?
Round 2, Chaos Knights.
Chaos Knights. And I have the list actually right here for everyone who wants to see
Speaking of doggies, baby.
It's
12 dogs. 12 dogs?
Yeah, walking the dogs.
Oh, boy.
With Nurglings.
Carnivores are my nightmares. Stuff of nightmares, literally.
They stop you from moving and they just kill you. They're in your face.
Moving? Oh, just they're
moving faster. Yeah.
So carnivores,
14-inch
if I remember correctly, 14-inch move. First of all, I get 13 if I take a certain quest. 14-inch move, 6 attacks with their slaughter claw, whatever the fucking crazy one is.
Yeah. It's like
hitting on 2s, whatever. Strength 12. Dude, that's hitting. That's wounding on 4s against big knights.
All multi launches. What's the Havoc multi launches?
That's their indirect. Little missiles. So my poor little inquisitorial henchman. Sick. Oh, it's so strong. This was the worst matchup I had all weekend for sure. This was the guy I did not want to get.
Yeah, and you got him.
Of course, I got him second round. So it was a tough game. Not to be spoiler alert, I lost, but it was a very, very close game. He got first turn, moved up super aggressively as he should. But I also have Meltas. I also have Thermal Spears, right? I can pop a knight here or a war dog here and there pretty easy. Here's the clutch play that I knew going in. Helverins, right? My little tech piece changed from the South African Nationals list. The 3 Helverins, 8 shots, strength 9. War dogs, just like Armigers, toughness 10. But Imperial Knights have a strat called Squire's Duty. You give it to... it says a minimum of 2 Armigers that can see the same target. You can give it to all your Armigers.
Oh, wow.
If they,
right? I know.
They get +1 strength, +1 AP. So now you're winning on 4s. And hopefully, if there's cover, you're getting at least AP 1. That can actually pop dogs. So So
they're going up on a 4-up save.
They're going to a 4-up save, exactly. But flat 3 damage with each hit, right? So what I found, and that was my game plan going in, was I need to have 2 Helverins focus down a dog. And in practice, it worked kind of as I hoped it would.
Sure.
2 Helverins with Squire's Duty can kill a dog. So he moves up, doesn't kill anything first round. I blast a dog off the board, and I think I picked up another Helverin with the Meltas from my Warglaive. So back and forth, back and forth. The clutch for him, there's a couple clutch moments for him. It was Nurglings. It was, so also, interesting note on this tournament, it was player place terrain. So
that's a huge element.
Huge difference. Huge difference. I had never actually experienced player place terrain. I had kind of researched it.
Did you guys do it off the center? 2-inch off center?
So not 2-inch off center, but you had to be 1 inch away from like the objective puck itself.
Yeah.
An inch off center, basically, effectively in most games, right? So this Knight player was very smart. Chaos Knight player, his name was Ryan. He's actually with the host group, Trident Gaming, super wonderful guys as well. He had the biggest piece of terrain right in the middle. I can't remember who won the roll off for it, but he managed to get in the middle. I think probably he did, because I usually push something in the middle to push him back if need be. Put it right in the middle, and his Nurglings came up, and he took fixed, deploy, and cleanse. And this is also the ritual we're playing. I forgot to mention the mission. The other one didn't matter that much. This one mattered a lot because it was the ritual. So he has this big piece of terrain right in the middle, blocking all my line of sight, obscuring everything, right? And he puts 2 squads of Nurglings who make objectives, cleanse them, and deploy teleport homers. Boom, boom.
So he made the Knight fixed.
Oh my god.
He made the Knight fixed.
Well, you can do
obviously
that. You
bring
can
it
do
down,
that with
right?
Nurglings.
So cleanse, bring it down. Is what he told you.
No, cleanse, deploy.
He just did cleanse, deploy.
Cleanse, deploy. So he deploys in the middle. He's close enough. The ritual.
But you only want to deploy in the middle for the first, hopefully the first round.
He did the whole game. Did the whole game.
So he only got 3 points the entire time.
Yep. But cleanse, you can cleanse on. He makes his objectives with the ritual. Makes his little triangle behind the terrain. Cleanse and deploy the whole game. Boom, 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 boom. I have to fight through 12 war dogs to get to those Nurglings.
That's a lot of wounds. And that's a lot of power.
It's wild.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's
super close. So the worst matchup for me all weekend for sure.
Okay.
I made it close. It was a loss, 63-72. Super close. Clutch moment, which breaks my heart, because this is the matchup. This is the one. It's that close one where you could have won if one thing went your way. There was 1 point in round. Actually, I'll tell you exactly the round, because I scored 0 primary on turn 4.
Okay.
Because my whole army got battle shocked.
No.
Everything.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
No.
Yes, it did. Everybody had at least 1 damage on them.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm taking him on his word. Within 12 inches of a Chaos Knights unit, you have to take a battle shock if you're below starting strength.
Sure.
Which I believe is how it works.
Yeah. It's their
battle shocked
whatever it's called.
The
Harbinger of Death.
Hate or whatever.
Yeah, Harbinger of Death. I think. Sure. Whatever it is. Yeah. Harbingers.
And my leadership is not bad. Canis is 5, -1 because Chaos Knights. So on a 6. The Warden is not bad. It's a 6. A 7 because of Chaos Knights. Armigers
this is
are
a
7.
hilarious story.
Dude, it was catastrophic.
And so no stratagems.
No strats necessary. All good. It's
you can't use stratagems on them anymore.
No. Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm battle shocked.
You're battle shocked.
I had already used my, Insane Bravery once to get around it one time. This was in round 3. I was already, round 4.
Right, yeah.
So I had no Insane Bravery, just got to roll the dice and, see if I can get a 7 up. Can I get a 6 up? Can I get a whatever up? Whole army got battle shocked. So I scored 0 primary that round, and I lost by 9 points. If I had scored primary, would have won that game by 1 point.
Holy shit.
Dude, it was heartbreaking.
All right, so now we're 1-1. We're 1-1.
We're 1-1.
All right, had a close game, and honestly, you learned a lot. Learned enough.
Yeah,
now let's move to round 3.
Game 3.
Round 3. So last day of Saturday.
Yes,
last match of Saturday.
That's right.
We're gonna go against Orcs.
Orcs into Dave Cruikshank. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, Cruikshank.
Cruikshank.
Yeah. That's why I said.
Also,
sorry, Tom. Sorry. That's why I said.
Yeah.
You're pretty too.
They're great guys. Super great guys.
Oh yeah.
Also, awesome. I didn't know this. I was looking at ITC points and stats and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Dave, #1 Knights player in Canada.
Oh.
As far as ITC is telling me.
So he knows what's going on.
His matchup. So I didn't know this at the time. I just looked at this after the fact. Go into he's playing as Orcs. Orcs is a great matchup for me. Love playing Orcs because his list, and we can go into it. Basically, the real threats in his list. He's got a bunch of boys. He's got a ton of trucks. The real threats in his list for me are a squad of Beast Snega boys and a squad of knobs with power claws. That's really it. Boys are not going to do much. War bosses here and there can pop off some armigers. Not the end of the world.
Yeah, so the list.
Yeah.
So what you played against, it was a beast boss on a Squigosaur.
Yep.
How do you pronounce it? Morzog Scrabad.
Listen, just sound it out. It's an orc name. They can sound it out. You can sound it out. Mozrog Scragbad. Scragbad? Like strong bad.
Another war boss. Beast Snogger boys. And then a bunch of boy units. We got 1, 2, 3,
bunch of boys.
4 boy units.
Yep.
A truck, and a truck. So there is
dumps like a truck.
5 trucks. See, I like these in orc lists.
Yeah.
Tank shock.
Yep.
Tank shock makes it all go.
Sure.
Then we have a battle wagon.
Toughness 12 on a battle wagon. Hey.
Yeah.
Holy
They're Land Raider. They're Land Raider profiles. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. 2 Gretchens and some Knob squads.
Yep.
Storm Boys for Deep Strike.
Yep.
There's 3. Wow, that's a really, really functional list.
So kind of MSU orcs.
I would say so.
Right.
Yeah.
Like kind of MSU orcs.
So your boys are your fodder. You have some trucks to also move, block, and score points. I'm sure they're scoring points.
Points win prizes, man.
Yeah.
Points win prizes, right?
That's the great thing about 10th edition is that vehicles score points.
100%.
That's why Rhinos are so good.
So I had played into orcs going into this game one time, and it was kind of just like a goof around, check them out, whatever thing.
Okay.
But in my brain, I knew Beast Nega Boys smash vehicles and monsters, right? Smash them. So that's target number 1, right? Again, target priority as Imperial Knights. That's exactly what you need.
What kills your knights?
What kills your knights? Carnivores kill knights. Kill carnivores. Beast Nega Boys kill knights. Kill the Beast Nega Boys. The Knob squad with all power claws. Also a threat for sure. War bosses with their power claw are going to be a problem, but they're going to have to come later, right? They're tucked in.
It's only when the opponent gives them to you is the only way you can do it.
Exactly. So they're tucked away. He's got pretty much everything in trucks. The way we deployed, we don't know who's going first. Obviously, I'm scared of the wall, but I have way better shooting than he does. He has it's orcs. There's no shooting.
I don't think that was ever in contest. If you have better shooting than orcs.
Right. Yeah. So, but the reason I say it is because we're player-placed terrain, right? So I take my whatever it is, 6 or 7 pieces of terrain, and literally made lanes in so much as I got the first placement, placed it right in the middle, a tiny little ruin in the middle to push his terrain back because he has to can't deploy within 4 inches of it, right? The rest of my terrain, I threw it to the edge of my board and just made a whole shooting gallery. He's got a lot of units. He's got a lot of trucks. He can hide some of them. He can't hide all of them. So what happened was, if he goes first, he's in a way better position because he doesn't wah first turn because he would have to charge out of the trucks. He doesn't want to do that, right? So he doesn't call the wah first turn. He wants to go first, move those trucks to mid board, leave the trucks behind, and wah second turn.
Sure,
right?
He does. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Unfortunately for him, I got first turn.
Okay.
So what it was...
Did he hide anything?
As best he could, but there's just so many trucks. There's a battle wagon. There's boys. As best you can, right?
I think, honestly, orcs kind of deploy the same almost every game.
Sure. Oh, 100%. Guaranteed.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if they're going first, second. They just deploy with the way they deploy.
Problem was I did go first. And I'll pull it up here. I did go first. And what it basically looked like was an armiger pops a truck. An armiger wipes a squad. Armiger pops a truck. The warden wipes a squad. I did that to his Beast Nega Boys. It was priority number 1. And then I kind of got lucky on an angle with the truck that had the knobs in it. And the way he was kind of all jammed up, he had to deploy them out into sight. And the warden just zorped him. There's nothing that can kill me anymore, really. He has Mozrog Scragbad, who does have, I think...
It's pronounced Mama
Jama? Mambo Jumbo, yes.
You're saying it wrong.
Mambo Jumbo, still a threat.
The Murgamer.
He does have, I don't know, I haven't looked at his actual data sheet, but he has like a dev-in or anti-vehicle, I believe.
Anti-vehicle
maybe with
wounds,
dev.
Yeah.
Right, so still can hurt, but after turn 1, he's the only threat. I move everything up. This was a game, I just finished it out here. This was a game I ended up winning 100-58. So hurt him real bad. He really was kind of like, this game is done after turn 2, basically. So that was an easy one for me into work. So that was the finish Saturday.
Okay, so you're at 2-1 on Saturday.
2-1 on Saturday. Heartbreaking loss with the Knights, the Chaos Knights, but that was my worst matchup for sure.
Yeah. So then we're gonna go into Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
A Xenos player.
Yep.
Necrons.
Necrons.
All right. So you should understand this matchup.
I understand it perfectly well.
Okay. So we're gonna go. Okay. Before we see this list, how would you approach any Necron matchup?
Right. Okay. So I gotta mention a quick wrinkle. So 2 days before this tournament, we got a Necron FAQ. Right. Mm-hmm. The Necron FAQ was to nerf. It was intended to target LVO, specifically the actual Vegas tournament, because it made that the Immortal bomb. And for those who don't know, basically the bomb was Immortal's reroll hits, full reroll on hits, sustained on 5, sustained 2 on 5s, reroll everything, get 1,000 hits.
Yeah, they turn into a delete button.
And so there's a strat that you can give them only in Canoptech Court that gives them dev wounds.
And if you have an Overlord attached, it's 0 CP, and you can use it again. 0
CP, wild. Crazy.
Yeah, and you can use it on 2 different Immortal squads in the same shooting phase.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think it came out on the Thursday before this tournament, so would have been probably, I imagine it applies for LVO, but not, Thursday, not for this tournament.
It was a Thursday.
Rules cutoff was a week before, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So there was 3 different Necron lists in this tournament. One of them didn't really have Immortals at all. He had a Monolith, more of a fun list. 2 of them was the Immortal Bombs, the Wraiths, the Necron cheese right now, right? This player's named Nico. He decided, unprompted from anybody else going into the tournament, that he's going to abide by the FAQ and not do the Dev Wound Bomb. So I'm now going into him, first game on Sunday, and I'm like, that's huge. Because if he has the Dev Wounds, he picks up an Armiger every single round. Without a doubt, with both Immortal squads. He has 2. We can run through now. So with that in mind, we'll run through the list, right? He's not doing the Dev Wound Bomb on the Immortals.
Yeah, so here we are.
This is nerf Necrons.
He's a Luminar Cesaris, which I love this model. Yes, for sure. I love playing him. I want to put him in my list. I think it's one of the coolest characters. He's like the lead Techromancer. Yep. His main ability is he can shut off... pretty much he does a bubble of armor contempt, and then increases the AP of everything else.
Plus around, 1 AP going out, -1 coming in.
And it actually increases if he kills more things in.
That's right. The radius
models.
does increase.
Yeah,
right.
it increases.
And he's
for the
tough
rest
as nails himself. 4-up invuln with a 4-up feel no pain.
Yeah,
he's tough as nails. Yeah.
We got a Hexmark Destroyer. We have 2 Overlords with translocation
as well. Yep.
Yeah, 2 Overlords with translocation shroud, and that. What that is basically just an auto advance.
Auto advance 6 inches.
Yeah.
So your Immortal squads
they each go into Immortals.
Moving 11 inches.
With assault weapons.
Yeah. And it's crazy.
1 Plasmancer, so I'm assuming 1 Plasmancer went into the Immortal squad. And then another one was a Chrono, and Chrono gives -1 to hit, but also gives move after shooting.
Little shoot and scoot.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. So that's a really good combo there. Technomancers, these usually go into Wraiths.
Correct.
They give them the 5 feel no pain.
Yep.
We have your Immortal squad.
One notably has the Dimensional Sanctum if you go up. So Dimensional Sanctum gives the squad Infiltrate. Auto Divinator's kind of a weird tech pick. Do you know what that one does? You didn't know about that one?
No.
You didn't know about that?
I didn't. And I haven't played Necrons in 10th. I haven't played them. No, that's not true. I have, but I haven't played with the new codex.
Yeah. So Dimensional Sanctum is a enhancement. It's 15 points. Gives the Wraith squad that you're putting that guy in Infiltrate. Their start, because you want to get your Power Matrix online. So why not start a Wraith unit on the middle objective?
Yeah, and then was Auto Divide.
So Auto Divinator is kind of a weird one. That's kind of a weird tech choice that most people don't. It's only 10 or 15 points. I think 15. When your opponent gains a CP as a result of an ability, so not you're discarding secondaries as on a data sheet. Like if there's an ability that gives your opponent CP, you roll a die on a 2+, you get a CP as well. It's a counterpoint, right? Yeah.
So then we got the 2 units of Immortals, which is obviously basic. Death Marks. So this is a really cool tech piece too, because it with precision and you snipe away.
Deep strike.
Problematic, and in the mirror match, it's great because you can get rid of Technomancers. You can get rid of Plasmamancer, so they can Immortal Bomb you.
Because they are kind of weak by themselves. Yeah, 100%.
Blade ones. That seems like a weird filler.
Infiltrate, some screening. Yep.
One of my favorite units is Scarabs.
Scarabinies, yep.
Yeah. They're good fodder.
Objective
and then
doers.
two Wraiths, and then 3 Doomstalkers. I have a feeling you're gonna get into these bad boys. So I think they.
Going into,
I think they fucked your Knights.
They did. They sure did. Spoiler alert. Yes, they did.
Okay, go into it.
So it's funny. So this guy Nico, again by his own choice, did not do the Dev Wound Bomb with the Immortals. All the props to him in the world. Very sportsmanly of him. Because everything else in this tournament, this was an LVO can't go type thing. Everything else in the tournament was trying to mirror LVO, player place terrain, the same mission pool we played as LVO. So in his brain, he's like, if it's not happening at LVO, I'm not going to do it.